Anyways, what my plan is to add more weight because it's not enough, and I found out that even though this thing is supposedly traction controlled, it still puts all the power to this wheel. Of course, the one I didn't put the weight on. So I'm actually going to build a bed frame back here. And the other kind of upgrade we're working on here is cargo nets. There's going to be another series going over that way. I'm going to tighten this up a little bit, and I'm going to leave cargo blankets up there. So it'll work as like insulation, and they have cargo blankets up there for whatever we might need cargo blankets for. But it'll also be enough room if we want to stuff sweaters or any kind of soft good up out of the way would be up there. You don't want to eat up too much headroom, but it'll also add some insulation. And then I got some of these other kind of almost basketball net style that are actually kind of an envelope that when you stretch them across, you can fit stuff in it. Which probably have one going across here and like 2 over there, I think. So figuring out exactly where I want to place all those. But yeah, today's mission, build a bed. Boom. So I think that's all the legs I'm gonna need. They're all done. So Marie's been working on the interior a little bit while I'm working on the bed. So how's the pins working out for you?
Oh, it's kind of hard to get them to weave into this.
Well, it's holding up. I mean, shouldn't have to take much wear and tear and abuse on that area, so. So the stink bugs have rehatched and they're everywhere, so I'm hoping that we'll have a big cold snap coming soon, which is about due, and kill all these idiots off. They're everywhere and they hide in every nook and cranny. So as soon as they get warm again, when you start warming up the house or the van or whatever, they wake up. And here's the thing, they don't do much, but they actually do bite you. I accidentally laid on one and yeah, they bite you. They're kind of fun. I should get a clamp out to make life easier. So that's the small one. It seems to fit pretty good. So I noticed that when I did the sit test, I mean, with the net and everything's right there, but realistically, if I didn't have the net there, I can sit fairly erect before my head hits. But you know, kind of chilling height, and I know that the mattress isn't here yet, and that's another 4 inches. So there's that. But the mattress doesn't always have to be on here, right? It's not going to, really. So for everyday use, I think this is going to be the ticket. Yeah, this should work out pretty good, because this is actually going to go all the way tight to the wall here. So there'll be a little bit of space, even with this thing here, and way up where the mattress is. There's plenty of room for the mattress and everything else. And there should even be enough room for the milk crates to stay there. And then look at all that under storage we have. Oh my, that's so much storage. Sharp and pokey points have got to go. So that will be nice and soft, like this one. And that one, kind of this edge too, has been nice and softened. So moving things around, hopefully it won't grab clothing and bedding and stuff in bad ways. And on top of cleaning up these corners and edges, and yeah, actually I do have a finishing sander, but I just find it easier to do it with this for this kind of size of stuff. But anyways, I'm also going to coat it with polyurethane, so that way it'll be really easy to wipe down and clean, because it'll also function as a table from time to time too. So I think that's what I'm going to wrap up for today. Just sanding this down and put a couple coats of poly on it and call it a day. And finish that one over there, because it's all pretty much ready already. And everything seems to fit really well in the van, so I don't have to finish that up tomorrow with the van if Marie wants to take it to work tomorrow. So I think the weather should be nice enough for one more run on the Vespa. Brakes are fine. It just hasn't been ridden in a couple of weeks, so they get kind of glazed over. And for the first few brakes, they make a horrible squeak. But really, they're fine. They're practically brand new. back to my work. And I got this for the first sand. This is so much smoother, but now I'm gonna flip it over and give all this just one quick coat of the oil-based of polyurethane. That way it keeps it sealed up. This might live its life outside from time to time, so keep it from getting rotty and gross. And this is the completed product. For some odd reason, I never got any video of it, and I just realized that when I was doing this, and Marie has the van, so I guess we'll just use this photo I got on Facebook. This is what it looks like with the mattress setup, and I purposely have the frame all to one side to see the worst case scenario of how like kind of tippy that side would be with the mattress overhanging, and it's really not that bad. Here's kind of the everyday look. This is kind of what we're going to do all the time because we're not really living out of the van. We're going to use it for like everyday grocery getting and whatnot, so this seemed like the most conducive setup. It's all strapped down and not going anywhere. Now work makes Dan hungry, so we decided to take a trip up to St. Helens and enjoy this fall weather. And there's really not much in St. Helens other than like places to ride doom buggies and shit, and a Beef-A-Roos. Maria had never been to one, and I haven't been to one since they've rebranded from what they originally were, which I prefer the old branding, but whatever. Nonetheless, now they have one in the Lower Peninsula, and we went to the one in St. Helens. And P.S., I got rid of the ones in the UP for whatever reason. It's actually by a road stop on M30 by Tittabawassee River. Oh, nothing stopped. It's just kind of cool because one of the, not rare few, but the hand few I've stopped to of roadside parks. And they're kind of unique to Michigan, as far as I know, because they're not like your regular rest stops. These are actually, a lot of them are put in between, I want to say probably the 20s all the way up until like the 70s. This one's newer, because they don't have like regular flushing toilets. This is a vaulted toilet. And what makes them quite unique to Michigan, as far as I know, on the travels I've done, I think Ohio might have a few of these kind of roadside stops that have hand pumps. And yes, I'm a nerd. I love this kind of stuff. You can find the regular pumps that just have a little spout that come out all the time. This actually will hold on to, you know, a few minutes of water, so that way the drinking fountain works. And you can twist this, that'll open up a full spigot, which I'll show here in a second. As you can see here, now you got that spigot going, so you can just come over and get a drink. And here's your overflow, because this has to continue to pump the excess water some way, the way the baffle works. So it'll close up and it'll go this way. Then if you want to fill up something, you just twist and pull that little knob, and now you can fill up your gallon. I'll get yourself a quick drink from a drinking fountain. Pretty cool old school technology you don't see very often. It just tastes kind of like old plumbing. A little bit of iron, a little minerally tasty, but not bad. Yeah, I thought you're supposed to get up to 70 today. And now we're a bit from home, but it's not 70. Pearl got a little dirty. Pearl got a little dirty on our trip to Beef-A-Roos. And she still needs a bunch of work. I think Marie has most of this side kind of situated. There's some more to do on this side. And it's kind of hard to tell in the camera how iridescent and kind of chameleon they are, but they're pretty cool. But now that we're back, we can work on the other project. Ooh, those cans might lead you into what it is. The ubiquitous diesel heater. There's like 10,000 videos on diesel heaters, so I don't know what I'm gonna do with this yet. And one of the bigger reasons why I was kind of steering away from diesel heaters is I don't know anything about diesel. Until I realized this doesn't really function like the diesel engine. I, in my head, imagined this was just an idling engine and it took the extra heat off of it. Nope. It has a little glow plug in there, and it just heats up this little chamber until it can continuously kind of almost self-heat itself by burning the fuel, if that made any sense. Pretty much it's just burning fuel in a tube, and then it's taking all air through the outside of it, catching the excess heat from these fins, and then shooting into wherever the heat wants to go. So it's actually a really stupid, simple machine. I guess the design goes back many, many years ago by some German engineer. The patent came up, and now there's a billion of them everywhere. The one thing that a lot of people didn't mention in the handful of videos I watched is the power they take. They actually pull about 12 amps when they work in the startup, which is a tremendous amount of amperage. And then once they start rolling, it's kind of like a cell phone charging, around 1 to 2 amps, somewhere in between there, depending on the cycle of how it's heating up or cooling, the cooling cycle, because these things never really shut down. So I bought this lithium ion cell, which I usually don't like lithium cells, but I'm looking at this as its own personal battery pack on like a laptop or a cell phone or whatever. And it'll also work a little bit as like a capacitor. So if I hook this to another plug-in to feed the battery, it'll always make sure the amperage is what this is going to need. And it can be a standalone thing too, so that way I don't have to have it hooked up to the car or a generator or whatever. And it's weird. They're doing the math on this because it tells you the amp hours, you know the amp on this, and I did my own math on it, and I figured between 6 and 8 hours, which is overnight. Okay, that'll make it work. But according to Googly and other things that I've researched, they say between 14 and 18 hours. Either which way, this should get us through the night, and that's the reason why I wanted lithium. Even though it scares me because when they catch on fire, it's a whole thing. But lithium, if you kill the whole battery, it's not as damaging to lithium cells as it is the regular lead acid cells that have. Well, I get the AMG, but it's still lead acid. So there's a lot to do. I want to rewire the thermostat so that way I can actually put it in the place that it's going to be heating, because the unit I want to have it live outside. The gas tank needs a strap on it, even though it's inside here. I just want it to be more secure. I'm probably going to get a different fuel pump over time so it's quieter, and I'll just keep the old one as a backup. Seems like there's another thing I wanted to do with it to kind of, you know, make it a little more me. I got to obviously finish the foots because this one's not right. I want to actually kick this back a little bit further and make a better little pocket for the battery to sit into. And obviously I got to put on the exhaust and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's the plan for today, even though it's not needed today. It's mid-October and it's 70 degrees out. So. Alright, the sound you're hearing, other than the ticking, is a fuel pump. It's actually, I don't have any of the exhaust system hooked up. I was just kind of curious to how loud the system would be. A complete fail, lost it, blah, blah, blah. It definitely has a weird sound. I don't know if it would cover through the little trunk piece that goes into the van. But yeah, even if you had no exhaust on this thing, it's really not that bad. Smell-wise, granted this will be outside with the exhaust and everything. It's no worse than my old kerosene heater. But yeah, pretty happy with it so far. Everything one more test after putting the extension on here, which I figured would work just fine, except I ran out of butt joints and I had to use a different setup here, so it's a little clunkier than I'd like, but it should be fine enough. I'm really just an eager kid that wants to play with his toys a little. So I got the diesel heater set up. It's not as precarious as it looks because it really can't fall anywhere except into the ladder, and really it's kind of a weeble wobble situation, which I'm debating what to do with these legs to make it more stable, but it's doing right on this board. And I have it strapped in here, so if an animal or wind or whatever, it really can't go that way. So it's fairly safe. The exhaust is awkward to me. I wish I could make it shorter, but at least it has this sock thing. I think it's a little bit better. I don't think the older models had that. I didn't put on a toggle switch yet, and a few other little things, but for the most part, I'm just kind of curious to letting it run and operate and see how it really will operate overall. Which is a good thing I did that, because right off the bat, the trunk that comes with it for your heat is incredibly short for what I want it for. And I've heard people having issues when they buy the ones locally, the ribs are different and it doesn't breathe as well, so they have to get a slightly bigger diameter. So I have to figure that one out yet. Really, I think that's the quickest home upgrade ever. I have a new furnace. All right, it's technically called a heater, but now this is really not even close to what I had in mind when just even setting this up for testing, which is why I did this test. Not really so much to see if it could really heat the whole house or anything like that. It's really about testing it and not letting it go to waste. So when you turn this doohickey on, just the battery, hook that up, it turns on the clock at 12. So I started this on, actually turned it on shortly after I actually hooked the battery up. So it's been running for a little over 2 hours now. And it's been really, really windy. And I think the temperature outside was 46 degrees, something like that. That's without the wind chill. So in my house, it's not drafty, but I can definitely tell the difference with temperature when it's, or how well it holds the temperature when it's windy out. So that's the reason why you want your muffler. It says to aim it down, so otherwise it'll get full of water or something when it rains. And I'll let you guys can see that, but it looks to be down near empty-ish. There's something left, but I had a full liter when I started, and I would say it's about, you know, not gone yet, but more than 3/4. So that's been for 2 hours. Just about every, to be safe, we'll say every 2 hours per liter, and I think it's about 4 liters is a gallon, roughly. So, yeah, they say about, you know, overnight. So that's pretty close. I have no idea how much power it's used. I don't have a battery monitor for that, but it's not too bad on the fuel efficiency.